such good practice. Back in the day when there were portfolios, I must have gone to about 280 interviews showing my work around. After a while, you just become, you just do it. Or when I was teaching, it took me 2 or 3 years to say, okay, not to be nervous, then just relax. So the more you do it, it's like that. You have sound there. If you have Keynote Mac, it's okay. Yeah. I mean, you could even do it on shitty. You could even do it on shitty Microsoft. Tell him we'll meet in London one day soon. Oh. When?
I put it on Instagram and I put it on, I sent the newsletter.
I should be, I have put my email down for sure. When is the meetup? Oh, past.
I'll do another one, but
when?
It was in September. It's a shame because you didn't come and talk about this.
September. Okay, next one.
But no, I'll do another one in like April maybe.
Tell me, yeah. It's possible to do it. It's possible for me to. From here, one of the advantages of being in Spain is that I don't have to think, oh my God, it's £400 to £600 for a ticket to London. It's 40, or it's 80, or it's 70, or it's roundabouts that. It's very different. So it's more possible to come to London. You did this yourself, or yeah? No. Ah.
I mean, some of the slides I made myself. You can probably tell which ones. They're not as good. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, the game better with the small.
It's over here.
We're starting.
Hola, hola, hola. Sí, se oye. Buenos días a todos, bienvenidos al segundo día del foro internacional de diseño y educación. Vamos a ver, quiero recordaros antes de dar paso a nuestra primera ponente, bueno, a Lefteris, que va a ser el maestro de ceremonias del día. Quiero recordaros el uso del hashtag, ¿vale? El hashtag ese que veis ahí está en todos los lados, por favor usarlo, porque así tiene más repercusión. También deciros que hemos salido en el Alicante Plaza y, en fin, que está teniendo bastante repercusión, con lo cual, pues bueno, estamos muy contentos porque al fin y al cabo es vuestra escuela, por lo que veo hoy, mayoritariamente alumnado. Bien, y sin más, vamos a darle un fuerte aplauso a Lefteris.
Thank you for coming. We're in the exciting day 2, and today we have 2 workshops, yeah, 2 very exciting workshops from Alexandra and Yeohun, and exciting videos and talks from Creative Conscience, and it's going to be a great day. I hope you enjoy it. Please use our hashtag, yeah, which is ADF19. It's very important that we spread the word about our work here, Yeah? So please use the hashtag and have a great day today. Thank you. Yes. Alexandra? Just 1 second.
Yeah? Oh, good. Yes. Hola. That's all I've got, actually, Spanish-wise. I went to the only school in the UK that doesn't teach Spanish. It teaches Italian instead, which is beautiful, but not that useful. So this is me, right-hand pirate. That is my real job title. It's on my LinkedIn profile. And for, oh, this has gone really far ahead. And it's not working. No?
We checked it yesterday.
Yeah, we checked
It upstairs.
Yep, okay. Well, we're going to go back. Okay. Tech. Okay, so this is me. For the last year, I have been right-hand pirate to the author of this book, Be More Pirate. And it's always interesting to come to Spain and talk about pirates, given our history. This is the second time I've done it now, especially since my whole journey with this book actually begins here. This is the Golden Hind. It's the replica of Francis Drake's ship, which is currently sat by London Bridge, if you ever visit London. And it was at the end of February this year, the end of my first month as a right-hand pirate, that Sam and I found ourselves on the bottom deck of this boat with 100 other people. These people, this is our crew. Now, it's quite difficult to get Londoners out in the middle of the week, let alone to a free event, and let alone in the middle of winter. But there we were, with our crew, kind of ready to take some action. And this was the beginning of Be More Pirate actually turning from a book into a kind of movement, because all these people had kind of reached the same conclusions that Sam and I had, that things need to change, that our systems aren't working as well as they should. That basically we're trying to now solve these 21st century challenges using 20th century rules. And when we say rules, what I mean is bad habits, norms, practices, policies, all the stuff that makes up our institutions, our systems, our business models that are driving inequality and a climate crisis. And so we kind of need a bit of an upgrade. Globalization has made the world really, really complicated now. We have more information than we can ever possibly do anything with, and we have more and more kind of stakeholders at the table making the decisions. And our leadership has literally no clue how to handle this. We're essentially at a point where the clicker doesn't work. This, I'm just not pressing it hard enough. That we are just facing total uncertainty in the face of these huge challenges. And when situations like this arise in history, what you start to see is you start to get rule breakers. Not agents of chaos and anarchy, but good people who look to their conscience for the answers, who do the wrong thing for the right reasons. Here's some more rule breakers. Hopefully. This is great. Oh. No? What? No? Why is it going? I don't know why this isn't working.
Maybe you should point up there. To the computer. No,
Ah, point.
Pointing up there.
This way.
Yeah, that way, maybe.
I can improvise. This is not the first time it's happened.
Okay, over there.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we have... I really hope we don't have that long a pause on every single one, because there is a lot of slides. These are some rule breakers. And I want to talk to you about a particular group of rule breakers. Pirates. And this looks kind of odd, I know, to put Captain Jack Sparrow next to the suffragettes and the civil rights movement. But pirates is what I'm going to talk about, specifically the Golden Age pirates. This is a period of history from about 1695 to 1725, which is basically the time when England and Spain were at war constantly. So we'll go there. Disney has, in fact, told you nothing. Is there a different one? Or? Oh. Disney has told you lies about pirates. They weren't, in fact, this group of scoundrels with no moral compass whatsoever. Pirates were originally just a group of young, disillusioned and disenfranchised young professionals who kind of looked around at the world, much like we are, and saw disruption, uncertainty, an uncertain future of work, a self-serving establishment, and lots of international conflict. And they basically decided that the rules of the day were not going to serve them, and so they quite literally jumped ship. See, these young professionals were originally just sailors in the Navy, and they went off and they formed crews of their own. The average age of a pirate was about 28, and the average size of the crew was about 80, so kind of like this room-ish. And that's when it starts to get interesting, because in order to survive at sea with a small crew of about 80, when you're facing the Navy of like thousands, they had to innovate, I guess. They had to find a way to survive and look after each other. And they started to rewrite the rules. So it was on a pirate ship that you saw the first form of social insurance. If you lost a leg or an eye in battle, you would get compensated. You would get, like, I don't know, 8 pieces of 8 or something. They had genuinely diverse crews because they knew that talent was the only thing that was really going to matter. So they would recruit women. This is Bonny. She is the most famous female pirate captain. Some historians go as far as to say that she inspired the Statue of Liberty. I mean, that's a bit of a long shot, but we'll go there. And this is Black Caesar next to her. Black Caesar was originally an African tribal chief who was taken as a slave and then freed by pirates, because pirates would regularly free slaves and bring them on board. And so this was the only place in the Western world at the time you would ever have seen all these people working together as equals. They had dual governance, which we may or may not see. I don't know why this doesn't work. There we go. Dual governance, a lovely depiction of our Houses of Parliament, which arguably isn't working so well anymore. But the point of this for pirates was to share the power, because they'd seen that power corrupted. They'd seen it in the Navy. So the captain and the quartermaster were equals. The captain was in charge of the strategy, and the quartermaster is in charge of culture, the people. In Sam and I's crew, Sam is the captain, and I am, in fact, the quartermaster. They had universal suffrage, so everybody on board the ship would get an equal say in all the decisions that they made. So they could actually vote out the captain and the quartermaster at any time. And this made it more democratic than actually ancient Greece, where only white men got a say. They had pay equality. And pay transparency, so everybody knew what everybody was going to get, which is something we haven't achieved yet. And the captain would only get typically about 2 to 4 times more than the crew members, which again is such a difference to when we see CEOs today, earning hundreds more than a lot of their employees. And they had self-organizing teams. Which really meant that they just had quite flat structures, so they weren't imbued with layers and layers of hierarchy. If they wanted to fight a big battle, they would scale up by collaboration, so they would team up with other pirate crews and then scale back down, which made it really, really dynamic and easy to kind of get together and fight the big fights. they were also masters at marketing. We often think of Coca-Cola as the world's first brand, but we like to say that it's the Jolly Roger, the skull and crossbones. If you saw the skull and crossbones on the horizon, you knew to keep well back. And it was how they were able to weaponize their reputation to actually be less violent. So pirates were actually arguably the least violent people on the sea at the time. They used their reputation wisely. Blackbeard, one of the most famous pirates, with the worst reputation, used to set light to the ends of his beard to kind of live the brand. But there is actually no historical record of Blackbeard ever killing anyone. And the last one is the one that always gets me. Pirates even had a form of same-sex marriage. This probably isn't an accurate depiction, but they pioneered this ritual and legal ceremony for same-sex relationships. So I hope that convinces you that pirates had something to offer. They broke the rules, but they did rewrite them too. And they locked all of their principles down in the Pirate Code. The Pirate Code was a real written document. It wasn't this kind of flaky thing. It was what they lived for, what they fought for, what they stood by. And it was what gave them the really high levels of trust and transparency and accountability, which are three things that most teams say that they want in their organizations. But I'm not going to try and tell you that pirates did any of this because they were more moral than anyone else. They weren't. It was simply that they had a chance to create something that actually worked for them. And so Sam and I actually have a pirate code between ourselves to figure out our own principles. And we really try to kind of live the pirate life in our work and personal lives too. And this is not going well today. So I want to just tell you a quick story, which is really fun, a fun story about how Sam launched this book and tried to live the rebellious spirit that it brings. So this is the publishers of Be More Pirate. This is their offices. It's on a road in London that has about 6 lanes of traffic next to it. And he had his first meeting in the room behind this window when Penguin basically told him that they have absolutely no budget for marketing this book at all. Because as a first-time author, you don't get much. And he said, well, okay, fine, I'll work with what I've got. So after the meeting, he went to the facilities manager of the building and said, theoretically, how much would it cost to put a massive poster in that window? And the guy said, probably about £2,000. But you can never do that. Like, that is unheard of. This is a listed old building. We don't do that. Piss off, basically. And so you probably guessed what's coming. 2 days later, it happened that the chief executive of Penguin asked Sam to come and do a talk to his staff. And he said, okay, I'll come, but I'm going to charge you a fee for it, about £2,000. And so he went and did the talk, got the money, said, I'm going to use it for marketing. And so on the day of the launch, Sam faked a permission notice. But this is never going to, there we go, an approval notice from the chief executive, Tom, giving him permission to use that window. It's got loads of typos in it, so they should have been able to pick it up, but they didn't. And in the morning of the launch, they kind of got to work putting up this poster. And if you put on a high-vis jacket, you can basically get away with anything. And this was really early in the morning, before anyone had arrived, and then they basically just ran away. And it was all going kind of badly, to be honest. All that happened was that the staff at Penguin just said, you've really pushed it. You're probably going to be the only author who loses his book deal on the day of the launch. Until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he'd lined up all these influencers to kind of tweet about it and stuff. A lot of them had let him down. But then something happened. Yay. Richard Branson tweeted it. A stroke of luck. And after that, it just sort of went viral. The book started to sell. Kind of became an overnight bestseller. So Sam started to think, oh, maybe I could do some other stunts. around this. So he did this. He projected an image onto the Houses of Parliament just before Donald Trump's first state visit with the wrong pirates who were in charge. And then just before I was about to work with Sam, this is back in January, he was about to launch the book in the United States and was trying to think about how he could try and make some impact over there. So he started researching some celebrities that maybe he could give the book to. And turns out it's quite difficult to get your book to celebrities. So he tried to think of a less, a high impact but cost effective other method for this. He thought, I'll just Photoshop it in and tag all of their fan clubs. So the biggest book readers in the US are, in fact, Ryan Gosling, Bill Gates, and Gary Vee. And yet again, the publishers were not particularly happy. They said, okay, you know, fine, but take it down. There were no lawsuits, but they did want him to sort of take it down. But there's this pirate hack that Sam and I use, or tell people to use, but use it only once and use it with caution, that sometimes when you hear no, you should just pretend that you heard go. And so he just took it a step further and photoshopped it into Oprah Winfrey's hands instead. And this is just as I was just about to start working with Sam, and I literally thought, maybe this guy is a nutter. Maybe I'm making a massive mistake going to work with him. But again, nothing happened. I mean, Oprah does not care. There were no lawsuits. Well, one thing did happen. People started to read the book, which I think in a weird way he wasn't actually expecting. And then people started to write to him. And they started to say things like this. Oh yeah. Oh, no, now we're going too far. This one, reading this led me to handing in my 1 month's notice that very evening. Thanks for putting my priorities in check. I'm breaking some rules and creating some scary but necessary change. Thanks to you, I managed to walk the plank, leave my comfortable corporate job to pursue my passion of starting a social enterprise. This guy, Stephen Carr, who wrote in the inside of the book, I'm going to fuck up fixed odds betting, you evil wankers, which is, you know, a good rule to break, fine. And Nick Fogarty, who wrote, or tweeted even, tomorrow is day one, a very, very simple message that tomorrow I'm going to change things. And then the messages started to turn from intention into real action. And at the beginning of my job, Sam kind of handed me this email folder of about 800 emails that were unread with these kinds of messages. And then I started to see them turn into things like actual pirate codes. So this guy, Robbie, has set up a new advertising or creative agency where he is basing it all on a code, which if you come and do my workshop, we'll go into a little bit more. These guys are an NGO. They fight for children's rights around the world, and they created a pirate code with a lovely graphic, I'd say. One of their principles in their code is no more jargon, which I just love because the charity sector and combined with sort of legal jargon is an absolute nightmare to understand sometimes. So they committed to only using plain English. Hallelujah. And these guys are a community organization in the kind of middle of England. They work with loads of different people across the community, but they've kind of created a code as well. I have, this is a recent one, so I've just kind of put the main principles up here. And then we started to see people kind of like do some rebellious things as well and like push their own personal boundaries. But you may not see them. This is Matthew Cooke. He works for a marketing agency in London, but has a passion for kind of helping to eradicate kind of loneliness. Like London can be a really, really lonely place. It's a huge, huge city. It's cold and wet and dark and damp, so that doesn't help. So he has taken these messages, you can't really see it, but it says you are beautiful, and takes them onto the London Underground to kind of generate some conversation, but also some emotion, because we tend to switch off. So this is his rebellion, his taking his message into probably the scariest place you could take it. These guys have just created a new early careers app for young people and have used exactly the same strategy as Sam by putting it into, photoshopping it onto celebrities' sort of radars and are using that on social media. And Tradecraft, who are a small organization that we've worked with for the last year. Tradecraft were original pirates in that they pioneered fair trade in the UK. And as fair trade has become more mainstream as a concept, they kind of lost their mission as pirates. They kind of started at the edges and became part of the mainstream. And so they're rediscovering their pirate mission. One of the things they're doing is boycotting Black Friday this month, even though they sell things, that's how they generate their revenue and their income. But they decided to take a stand based on their core values in their code that quality is far more important than quantity. And so they've also created this special edition pirate transparent coffee, which is really about showing the breakdown of where the money actually goes when you buy a fair trade product, because they think that that's what's been lost in the fair trade process. And these guys, these are my healthcare pirates. It's interesting that the biggest cry to be more pirate has come from health and social care. They kind of recognize that our National Health Service in the UK has become a little bit like the Navy. It's become obsessed with efficiency and data and bureaucracy. And so these guys are a kind of group of patients and doctors, nurses, everybody involved in the healthcare process who come together, they meet in secret, and they think about ways to challenge the system. And we kind of do it under a banner of rehumanizing the system, that we're kind of losing the human element. We're losing the empathy and the compassion that is so important to good healthcare. But I think that this concept spreads across a lot of different sectors. We were talking about yesterday about the difference between being an artist and being a designer, and that you guys cannot, spend your careers with your head down a computer. It's about going out into the world, being curious, rediscovering that the human elements that make us, that create really great art and design. But it's the same concept in healthcare. And so this is our crew. It is our crew. This is a good one. But the thing that they said to me the most about this book and what it's given them is that pirates give you permission. Being pirate gives you the permission to speak up, to tell the truth, and to basically not ask for permission anymore. That's been their kind of the language in which they now talk about pirates. And when I started to talk to them in more detail, I realized that the places that they were challenging things tended to be in their professional settings, whether it's starting a new agency or being a nurse, kind of quietly challenging the status quo. It was in these professional settings where you've got connections and skills and knowledge that it was there was room and space to start a little rebellion. And that's why we started to call this whole thing professional rule breaking, which, oh no, gone one too many. There we go. And professional rule breaking is really about a deliberate shift away from permission-based change, which I'm going to talk about more in the workshop. So I will leave it there and simply say that this is going to be about rule breaking and rule making, and that you can't do that without a bit of risk taking. This is going to be about rediscovering your courage, because that is where you need to go for real innovation. If you really want to change anything for yourself or for the wider world, you're going to have to be prepared to go into unknown territory and to go off the edges of the map. And that's where pirates always went, because that is where you get the real discovery and the freedom and the possibility. And this is a quote from Captain Flint, an old pirate. And on old maps, they used to have this phrase, "Here there be dragons," with an arrow pointing off, because that was where the pirates went. So I hope you guys will join me. That's my email address. If you're not, and if you would like an illegal download of audiobook of Be More Pirate, you can email me and I'll give it to you for free, because we're not interested in selling books anymore. So thank you very much for listening. Oh, thank you. Great. Another tote bag.
Foto. ¿Podemos dar un poquito más de luz en la sala, por favor? Bien, ahora los que vayáis a ir al taller de Be More Pirates, os vais a subir. Elena.
Ya, tiene primero una entrevista. Okay,
Yeah.
first you have the
A ver,
interview and then we have the workshop.
Okay.
Okay.
I have to give this to...
Your stuff.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Bueno, el protocolo va a ser, primero Alexandra va a salir un momentito, va a hacer una entrevista. Los que tengáis, os hayáis registrado para el taller, por favor, acompañáis a alguno de las camisetas. Vanessa, pues levanta la mano, la acompañáis a ella, por favor. Y es en la planta de arriba. ¿Vale? La entrevista será fuera. Cuando salgáis fuera, alguien os indicará. Sí. No, a ver, estos son el taller. Primero va a empezar el taller de Be More Pirates. Después, ahora vamos a escuchar a la segunda ponente y luego el taller de tipografía será después, ya lo avisaremos. ¿Vale? Sí. Ah, pero el Pirate, ¿tú quieres el...? No, pues espérate. Ok. Bueno. Un minuto para... Sí. Un momento.
Are we starting, Anna?
Sí,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Well, now we have a typography professor all the way from the United States of America. She's come just for us for this conference. So a big clap for Yeohun. Please play file number 2. Okay, the video when we tell you. Okay, so whenever you're ready, just we'll play the video.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh great.
Okay. Brilliant.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Yes, I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay, file number 2, please.
Let me see.
Brilliant.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Full screen.
Yes. Can you make a full screen? Yeah, we can go back to the beginning of the video. Can you go back to the beginning of the video? Yes. Oh. No. Can you go back to at the beginning of the video? Yes. Yes. Can you just temporarily stop that? Let me just introduce myself, and can you press the button play? Yeah. So let me just wait more audience to have a seat. Good. So can I start?
Yes, of course.
Good. So can I use this one rather than? Yeah. So, thank you. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. My name is Yeohun, and thank you for attending my presentation today. I'm assistant professor of graphic design in the art department at the University of Wisconsin Madison in the United States. I'm planning to talk about type-plus code 4 that we will have the workshop right after presentation. I hope that you can attend the workshop. Can you go to the next page that I'm planning to talk about type-plus code version 4. Yeah, can you go to the next slide? Can you play the button play? Good. So type-plus code version 4 is a generative typographic system for graphic design education that embedding computation in the graphic design education has still existing, but still in the beginning of the stage to create random, unexpected, uncontrolled typography. This presentation slide has automatic transition every 8 seconds. So I cannot match the, yes, okay. Can you go back to just a few seconds to the beginning of the video? Okay. Can you, yeah, can you just go to, okay. I think I have to just align with my presentation. Okay, can you go back to the beginning again? Then, oh yeah, can you go back to the beginning? There, it's better to just matching with what I'm talking with the presentation slide. Would you go back to the beginning again? Yes, and then can you go to the previous one? Yes, okay. Let me just read the presentation slide that you better understand. It is a generative typography system to create legible and expressive typography by using computation in graphic design education. This is a type-plus code version 4. Then I'm gonna just wait, go to the next slide. And embedding computation in the graphic design education started already existing, but still touching entry level, exploring experimental, random, unexpected, and unplanned typographic output there. Have you ever used any computer code to create generative graphic design? Do you have any experience? I hope that we will have the workshop today. Then hopefully let's go to the next slide. Why did it stop? Good. How we as graphic design educators would provide essential and evolving typography education and solutions with computation to inherit from calligraphy and modern typography. That's the beginning of this project. Then I'm gonna just go, we have to go to the next one. I try to start this story with the calligraphy. I was born in South Korea. My early childhood dream was being a calligrapher. Calligraphy is art of writing beautifully. That we have to go to the next slide. That yes, I dreamed of being a calligrapher in South Korea when I was young. A calligrapher is a person use a pen, brush, or marker to create a particular style of writing that is expressive and artistic. But I had to study computer science with my parents' strong recommendation in South Korea. Then we are going to the next slide. Let me just wait a second. Yes. I went to America as an international graduate student in the graphic design MFA program at Maryland Institute College of Art. I did research how to combine what I had to study and what I really loved as computational calligraphy. That was my class project as a graduate student at Melody Institute College of Art. It was a result of the output led by Marianne Benjes. Also, she is a graphic artist and typographer. That was my computational typography by using computational calligraphy by using geometry library in processing. That we will learn how to create expressive typography in computation. I started learning about graphic design, particularly modern graphic design, by using a very classic graphic design book. Have you heard about Armin Hoffman's graphic design manual? Do you know this book? No one knows this book? Thank you. Yeah, it is written by Armin Hoffman. It was published in 1965. It was a very classic graphic design textbook. Then let's go to the next book. I was fascinated with the modern and constructive graphic design from this book. If you see that, it showcased the modern graphic design style. Have you heard about this book, Graphic Design, The New Basic? Great, thank you. Yeah, I'm the person who designed the cover art for the book. Yeah, so it ended up with my MFA thesis at Maryland Institute College of Art that I did type and code. It was my thesis to explore code-driven experimental typography. And hopefully, let's go to the next one. I was inspired by this book. Have you heard about this book? Dimensional Typography, thank you. Written by Abbott Miller. Also, I was inspired by the book, Creative Code. Have you heard about this book? Thank you. Well, yeah, thank you. Written by John Maida, who was a pioneer of generative or computational graphic design. Also, another pioneer of computational typographer, Peter Zhou. They are all my inspiration of my MFA thesis, Type plus Code. Also, I was influenced by Korean style calligraphy. If you see that there is a contrast between background and foreground image, also it's a textual and expressive. Then let's go to the next page. I'm just waiting. I was planning to control my presentation slide, but this morning I have to convert to the video. Yes. Those experimental typography were extended to a tutorial for Type plus Code processing for designers. That it was published in 2010 with the two collaborators, Viviana Cordova and John Page Corrigan. Then all of my experimental code-driven typography were invited to the tutorial for the book Type plus Code Processing for Design. Also, I designed the letters for the New York Times Magazine's annual issue, Year in Ideas. Also, I designed this typography by using L-system algorithm to simulate a tree. And this is a cover that I used the typography Type plus Code to create a cover art for the tutorial book. Inside the book, there is a chapter calligraph to introduce how to use geometry library in processing, and also that was a tutorial sample that it was invited for the cover art for the magazine Letter Art Review. It's a quarterly issued international magazine for letter art in America. Type plus Code 2, that was a second version that it explored more expressive, story-based computational typography. I always aware whenever I create experimental typography in computation or in computer code, it should be legible. When you learn typography, legibility, expression, storytelling, That's a key point of typography. Then we will learn how to do it through the workshop today. Then let's go to the next. With legibility, expression, and storytelling with the modern graphic design principle and functions. If you use computation, it's easier to create experimental art rather than graphic design and typography. This was my typography green expressed the meaning of the green. That I invited numerous tree form on the outline of the plain and inanimate letter forms, GREEN, green. Like, this is a process from idea sketches to working with several variables and functions to create expressive typography regarding green. Let's go to the next one. Yes, I had an unusual story telling through my typography. I had a heart attack. In my coronary artery here, I have a stent. At the time, I started creating typography to talking about my story. It ended up with Typras Code 2. It was the name of my solo exhibition. So if you see there, A with a subtitle beginning, right after my heart procedure to open my blocked coronary artery, that I created all of typography in bed, to writing code using laptop to writing. This is why with the subtitle is a major female organ. Then this was my idea sketch. And let me just go to the next slide. I had many numerous iterations, if you see that. And finally, I decided to use this final output. And if we go to the next slide, you will see it was a final output in processing. I inverted the color, black go to white go to black in Photoshop, that we can easily invert the color. That was the final output, like this. Then Typras Code 3. Typras Code 3 was an extension of the aesthetic from cyberspace to physical space by using digital fabrication such as laser cutting and 3D printing. Then it was an initial sketch in processing. Processing is a programming language for artists and designers. That the maximum dimension of the laser cutter that I used was 24 inch by 36 inch. Then I used MDF. Have you heard about MDF? Medium density fiberboard. Then that was the final output. This is each part is 24 by 36 inch. Then it was another version of Life that I'm gonna just go that I tested with laser cutter on medium density fiberboard and scratchboard. Have you ever used a scratchboard? If you scratch the surface, that we will see the white surface, that's a scratchboard. It was the final output. I'm gonna just then let's go to the next slide. Yes, do you remember my S? It was a tutorial sample for the tutorial book. Then it was invited to the cover art, and I reinterpret the letter form S by using laser cutter on acrylic. Then it was erotica A. It reminds us of a certain area of a body. Yes. Next slide was a collaboration with Professor Taekyung Lee at Illinois State University. He is specialized in 3D printing by using a ceramic material, porcelain. Have you heard about that? Yes. It's another piece that it ended with. like this by using Erotica A. I propose a course, typography and code, in the visual communication design department at School of Art Institute of Chicago. Have you heard about School of Art Institute of Chicago? I taught a course, typography and code, from 2012 to 2014. That it was a class project for dimensional typography inspired by Avo Miller's dimensional typography. It was an A from the front. If you see from the other side, there is several layered acrylic. Then go to the next slide. It still have a legibility of the letter form A. Then, let me just wait. Like this. It is created by Esther Gu from the course Typography and Code. Finally, I'm in the stage of Type and Code version 4. Type plus Code version 4, again, it is a generative typography system to create legible and expressive typography by using computation in graphic design education. I create flowers in processing duplicate numerously that you will learn today through the workshop. And I embedded beautiful flowers into a letter form F. Can you see? That you will learn how to do it today. And then I create a typography flowers. Actually, it was inspired by a Korean CC and contemporary music for Christian. This is Korean. God means flower. Then now I have a solo exhibition at Trinity International University near Chicago from November to February, at the end of the February next year. This is my solo exhibition photos. If you would go to Trinity International University's library, you will see. Then you're gonna see that beautiful illustration and extended to the letter form F, and more experimental generative graphic design by using L system algorithm and flower. Then let's just go to the next slide. Yes, so this semester I teach motion typography in the graphic design program at the University of Wisconsin, at the University of Wisconsin Medicine. That these are created by my student in motion typography, created by Yuri Kim. Yes, you will have the same experience, create beautiful experimental illustration, how to embed a letter form that you will decide, A or B, or name, word, vocabulary. Also, at the beginning, you will create experimental illustration, expressive illustration by using computation. This is also, it is a special character. Then at the beginning, she created a beautiful flower and embedded into a special character that is the motion. Yes, so if you want to learn about this project more, you can go to the website www.typeandcode.com. Also my website www.yeohun.com. There you will see a menu, Type plus Code version 4 that I just created last night. That if you go, then you will download sample code and tutorials. Hopefully I will see you in the workshop today. Thank you. Yeah. That's that.
Momento regalo foto, un momentito.
Here?
Some posters here.
This one? Yes. Good, thank you.
I'm very positive. They can hear me.
Oh, yes. Can I go to the...
Upstairs?
Yes, yes, thank you.
We are having the videos. We're having the videos. It's a video time, isn't it? It's for the videos now. Yes, yes, yes.
Ahora lo digo o what do I?
I'm going to introduce the videos. After the people leave for the workshop.
Shall I tell them about going to the videos?
I have the file up there, so.
A ver, un momentito. Los que vayáis a ir al taller de tipografía, ¿podéis ir saliendo? Vale, ya ha salido todo el mundo que tiene que ir al taller. Vale. Los que tengáis que salir a los talleres, por favor, vais saliendo y así cuando... Pero todos no vais a caber, ¿eh?
We have 20 people for the workshop. Yeah, yeah.
Estáis registrados ya, ¿no? Vale. Seguir, son arriba, seguir a la gente.
Okay. Are we all set?
Sí, un momento. ¿Ya lo tenemos claro? Bien.
Yeah?
Bueno.
Super. So when we started designing the conference, we invited many people, yeah? But not all of them could come, of course. But 5 professors from all over the world were kind enough to give us 5-minute videos about their opinions about the main question of our forum, which is how to improve design education today. Okay, so we have a video. It's 5 professors and artists talking about their work and about design education. It's file number 3, yeah? Is everybody okay? So whenever you're ready, we have sound on that. So play file number 3. Brilliant. No, file number 3. File number 3. No. Complete video. 3.complete video, not 4. Yes, 3A, complete video. That's it. Perfect. Sound. Sound? Okay.
According to the agenda, it's the other way around.
Oh, so sorry. Oh, so sorry. I thought I read the program with. Oh.
A ver, ha habido...
So sorry.
Perdonad un momento, ha habido una pequeña confusión, no hemos visto bien la agenda y entonces hemos cambiado el orden, pero vamos a volver al orden inicial, si nos importa. Volvemos al orden inicial, que es nuestra tercera ponente, Chrissy Levet, la número 3. ¿La tenemos ahí? Yes. No, it's okay. You do it now. Okay. You do it now, porque the agenda is the agenda. El programa es el programa, hay que seguirlo. Aunque nos hayan animado bien.
Of course. We are doing Chrissy. We got.
Nos han animado a hacer rule breakers y romper las normas, pero no lo vamos a hacer porque no nos apetece. Ahora,
He's a pirate.
Today we have Chrissy Levet. We're very lucky, all the way from London. Okay, from Creative Consciousness, and talking about her work and another pirate. Yeah, we have another pirate here.
Yeah, well, you're the pirate.
I'm the pirate,
I think
yes.
you're the
Well, we're all
pirate
pirates.
taking it
Okay, of course.
Can I do a little introduction in Spanish?
Of course.
Voy a haceros una pequeña presentación porque es que Chris y yo nos conocimos en Portugal en un curso en mayo de este año, y entonces gracias a esa conexión empezamos a hablar que viniera, entonces estoy súper contenta de que esté aquí, de volver a reconectar con ella. Y ¿qué necesitamos? ¿Nada? Do we need anything else?
We need with the slides, Chrissy's
¿Nos
slides.
puedes
And
poner
the
la
lights down.
presentación número 3, la de Chrissy?
And we want.
¿Está
Yeah.
allí?
Brilliant.
Bien.
And can we have
Un
the
fuerte
lights
aplauso para
down?
Chrissy.
It's perfect. It works perfectly.
Which way does it go? Just
Forward?
forward. Yeah, can we test it?
Yeah, of course.
And do I press it at these
Yeah.
guys up there?
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Could
It
we
works.
take the lights down? Is that okay? I feel like I'm in a... Yeah, you can turn the lights off, actually, if you like. Yeah, so we can see the slides. Amazing. Thank you. Okay. I have got some posters if anyone would like to ask some questions afterwards, but I don't know if we have time for that. We'll check with the boss. So, hello. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to speak slowly because I don't speak Spanish. And as Anna and Lefter said, my name is Chrissy Levet. I trained as an illustrator and a printmaker, and then I did graphic design at the Royal College, actually, where Lefters went, and I became a designer and then a creative director. So that's about me. Before we start, I would like you to do something for me. I would like you to close your eyes, if you like, and I would like you to imagine a world. I'd like you to imagine a world where every single thing that we create, that we design, that we build, that we even manufacture, serves humanity and our planet. Every single thing. Oops, it's gone forward. Every single thing that we create serves humanity and our planet. Now that would be a very different world, right? It would be a fairer, healthier, more just, sustainable world. And that world is absolutely possible. And I'll tell you why. Because there are organizations, there are even businesses that put people and planet first, and they are successful, and they even make money. Surprise, surprise. So based on that idea, a community of creative thinkers built this organization. And we are a global platform that engages and inspires creative thinkers to apply their talents to socially valuable projects promoting sustainability, freedom, social health, and well-being. And all us creative people who brought this thing to life, I'm the founder, but there's a group of us. It's a big community. It's a global network. We got together and we ran out into our industry and we told them that this is what we wanted to do. But they didn't want to listen. This was 8 years ago we started this idea. And I saw a quote at the time by Nelson Mandela, and he said, "Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world." That's why we're here today. So what we started to do was we started to engage with the next generation of creative thinkers, people like you, to inspire you to use your talent for social and environmental impact. And we built a global award scheme, a competition, and we made a platform and we put it out. And it just took off. And today I want to show you a couple of projects built by young people like you that have touched the lives of millions of people, so that you can understand what's possible.
the power of creative ideas to change our world. So the first project I want to talk about was on the subject of teenage suicide and bullying. This project was sent to us by an illustrator and animator, and Eleanor was actually Romanian. She created a graphic novel. It was 166 pages. It was beautifully illustrated. She won an award. She was mentored. She came and worked at the agency that I was at the time as an intern, a paid intern. And this project was launched online. Eleanor's project got more than 2 million hits in a matter of months. She received literally thousands of emails from young people all around the world telling her that her project had saved lives and had stopped negative behaviors like self-harm, bulimia, many, many things. Now, what's really interesting for us is that Eleanor's project came from her own experience of being bullied as a young girl. When I met Eleanor, she told me that she was going to give up doing illustration and animation. She couldn't see a future in it, and she didn't think it was for her. She won an award. She went back to Romania. She did an MA. She created another graphic novel on the issues of dementia, which is now being published in 2 languages and is sold in the National Museum in Bucharest. All because of creative conscience, all because of our platform. This is a project that's a little bit more fun. I'm afraid I haven't got the video because I messed up. Sorry, Lefty, I messed up. I had lots of video content, but I'm going to talk about it instead. So this was a group of young people. They were actually American. They were advertising students. And they saw a problem. There was a rise of HIV and sexually transmitted diseases. And so they came up with a concept of creating fake profiles on Tinder. And the names on those fake profiles were sexually transmitted STI names, like chlamydia and herpes and all these things. And the idea was when someone swiped left or right without consciously looking at that person's name, they would be sent a message telling them the, what's the expression? The reasons why we should be conscious, and also using Tinder's GPS system where their nearest sexual health clinic was. And this was the concept, and they sent it to us, and they won an award. And we loved it, because what we do with a lot of the projects that get sent our way, we try and then get them built, right, in the real world. And so we wrote to Tinder. We managed to find, I can't remember his name, Sean, someone in LA, and we wrote to him, and we told him about this campaign. And we thought it would be great. It would be like a corporate social responsibility piece of work for Tinder. And at the time, in America, Tinder was getting slated by the press because it wasn't encouraging safe behavior. You know, this isn't about not having fun, not having sex. It's about being conscious around this behavior. And so we wrote to a number of different dating apps, a lot, and no one responded. But that didn't stop us. What we did was we found a partner, which was this charity in the UK called Brooke. They work with 16 to 24-year-olds around sexual health and all sorts of things. And we showed them the concept, and they loved it, and so we launched it. We found volunteers like you guys, people who were willing to use their faces as avatars, and everyone had a name. I mean, obviously, we used like good-looking boys and girls, and we posted it across about 10 different dating apps. And we ran the campaign just before Christmas. We had hashtags and links telling people about how to behave. And it was just so much fun, and it was brilliant. I do have a rather unfortunate story around this, though. My son, who was 16 at the time, he's very tall and not like me, but he's a kind of handsome-looking boy. He agreed, I actually had to pay him some money, but he agreed to be one of these avatars. I can't remember what sexually transmitted disease he was, but he had a name, and he was a sexually transmitted disease. And so we launched this across many apps. So we had all these faces and all these names of diseases, and we put these fake profiles up online, and then when someone swiped, they were then sent a message, and we filmed the whole thing, and then campaign was used on social media. But what I didn't know was that one of the teachers from my son's school was using one of these dating apps. So, of course, when she saw Callum's face, she was like, well, he's not 18, and this is disgraceful. And I got a call from the headmistress, and I was called into the school, and I refused to go. And, yeah, I got into all sorts of trouble. But why I want to show you this campaign, I wish I could show you the video, but it's all on our website, is that a bit like our pirate friends, just because someone says no, it doesn't need to mean no. You can create change in the world. You can have a lot of fun around a serious issue, and you have to be brave. And when we were doing this campaign, we were having conversations in live action, and it was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun. So that's one project that really touched the lives of hundreds. This is a project that was about cancer, but we launched this. It was a concept sent to us by a student. It was all about testicular cancer, and we took this campaign to an organization called Movember, which is a global charity that gets men to grow moustaches during November. You might know of it. And they launched Kieran's campaign. We even had pants made. And the idea was to get people running around in their underpants to raise awareness for cancer. Again, a lot of fun. It was launched across a number of different universities, and it created change. This was another campaign that was about the waste that festivals in the UK create, plastic waste, tons and tons of waste. And we managed to get this film shown on the main stage at a massive festival in the UK that, again, was seen by thousands of people. And it was a film and a campaign that a student did. But we took that project and we pushed it out into the world to create change. So what we would ask you to do as an organization is, if you have any projects around social or environmental impact, send them to us, because you don't know what might happen. And I would urge your tutors to get involved in this. We do talks and lectures all over the world, and we have thousands and thousands of projects sent our way. We're interested in everything, and we don't give you the brief. You can do anything you like against anything that you care about, okay? So we're interested in graphics, service design, system design. This was an event that someone launched in their university about mental health, fashion textiles. This was materials design, product design. These guys came up with the idea of using potato skin to create a new material instead of like MDF, which this stuff is toxic to our environment. And it's launched, and it's happening because of our organization. What else do we have? Is this working? Exhibition design, interiors. I know we've got a wonderful speaker next, Agnes, who's going to talk about interiors, architecture, absolutely anything. Now, why is it important to use creativity for purpose? Not only is it great because you're using your creativity to change the world, but we have proof, data, from hundreds of young people that proves that if you work on social and environmental purpose-driven projects, you will get a better sense of mental health and well-being. It's proven. This was a project that was about mental health. I should have shown that when I was talking about it. The clicker's a bit sticky. I'm stuck on mental health. I don't want to get stuck there. I really don't want to come back. Okay. The last thing I'm going to show you is this project. So what happens is we run around encouraging young people or the next generation, you don't have to be young, you could be anyone, to use their talent for social and environmental impact. And then what happens, you will leave university or you will leave the comfort of that space and you will go into the real world. And sadly, the real world doesn't care enough about the things that are really, really important. Our future isn't looking great, so we really need to be focusing on this stuff and fast. And, oops, it's jumped. And these two lads, so what we were told was that we were setting people up to fail. And we don't want to set you up to fail, we want to set you up to succeed. But this is a project, and we see these projects over and over again. It was created by two graphic designers, Sam Smith and Nathan Smith. They're not brothers, but they were working in a big London agency. I'm not going to tell you which one. And this London agency had no corporate social responsibility at all. Okay? It was basically selling shit to people they didn't need. I did that for a long time. I'm sorry for that. That was my world. It's not anymore. And they were at their desks, their junior designers, at their desk when Brexit happened. And they weren't happy. And I really wish that I could show you the GIF, but I can't. It's on our website, I think, somewhere. So what they did, they wrote to over 100, probably 200 designers and illustrators from all over Europe. And they asked them to design a postcard about Brexit. And to their amazement, they were sent about 150 postcards from Spanish designers and French designers and English, all over Europe. People sent them work, illustrators and designers. You can find this project online if you're interested. And they couldn't believe it. And what happened, the press, the design press in the UK picked up on this story, and their work was featured in a magazine. They were then invited to Turin to exhibit these postcards. They then got nominated for the Design Museum in London's Beazley Design of the Year exhibition, and their work was exhibited for 6 months in this exhibit. They created a book that was sold on Amazon, and it absolutely transformed their lives. They used their creativity. They had an idea. They got other people in the community to create the content. They were brave. And that's available to every single one of us in the room today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. I'm going to ask you a favor, if that's all right. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we're on Facebook. We post loads of amazing content around creativity for social and environmental impact. I don't know if I've got time. I have got some posters to give away if anyone has a question. Are you sure?
Yes, of course.
¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta? ¿Podemos subir un poquito la luz de la sala?
Okay, we've got a question there. Thank you. Hello. Do you need to do it in Spanish? Can someone translate?
No, it's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, how do you
Yes.
fund these projects? Because you said you made money with it, so.
Okay, so we don't make money out of the student projects. That would be immoral. We are actually an NGO, a charity, so we're a charitable organisation, and we're just being built by a community. So we have a huge network of designers from all over the world. We get projects sent to us. We have this competition platform. You send us your project. If it might win an award, it might not win an award. Like the boy who did the cancer project with the idea of getting people to run around in their underpants, he didn't win an award. But we loved the idea, and so we connected him to the right people to then make that idea happen, if that makes sense. So it's not about winning award or not winning award. It's the platform is there to encourage you. And we run workshops, and we have tools, and we have a curriculum that educators can get involved with in order to teach what you need to do to create change in the world. Does that make sense? Yeah. We all have our kind of like our day jobs, or, you know, I'm a designer, that's what I do. I'm here because of love. Because I can see the future, right? And we need to change, and we need to change fast. So that's my personal story, like I said. Well, thank you for asking that question. Can I give you a poster? Shall I show you what the posters are like to encourage anyone? Well done for asking a question. The posters actually have lots of work on them, and they're like that. Any more questions? I'm very happy. No? Okay. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for listening. Oh, you've got a present. Oh, thank you. Okay. Are you going to give me a present? I'm going to stand here and get a present.
How long is our break?
Oh, thank you for my present. I want to give you a hug.
You're right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us. We're really grateful. Gracias. Okay, I can say, dos cerveza, por favor. That's about my limit. Oh, yes, and you can take this away.
1 hour.
Mira, tenéis las agendas por ahí. Creo que tenemos una hora. Dentro de una hora nos vemos aquí. Pero no más, ¿eh? Ser puntuales.
Let's take this off, this thing.
Everything's